Well, good morning, everyone. I'm Tom Calter, Kingston Town Administrator. I'd like to welcome everyone here this morning. This is a very exciting time, an exciting day, an exciting period for the town of Kingston. Kingston, as you may know, has been on the move for quite a while, and today is the result of a commitment from the Baker-Polito administration and a result of the hard work of many other major stakeholders. And I will leave the announcement to the Secretary. Before that, I'd like to make several introductions. We'll get back to you in a minute, Michael, but this is Cabinet Secretary Mike Kennealy, Senator DiMacedo, who everyone knows, Chairman of our Board of Selectmen, Josh Warren, Vice Chairman of our Board of Selectmen, Elaine Fiore, and member of the Board of Selectmen, Jessica Kramer. I'd like to welcome all of you. I'd also like to welcome two of our premier business partners who have worked closely with us on a number of projects. And over here to my right is I don't see David Gilmore. Is he here?
Yep.
Oh, sure. Is David Gilmore, the General Manager of Kingston Collection
Glasses on.
for Pyramid Management, and Mark Baranski, the Development Manager for Trammell Crow, who is the organization that is building the units over at Kingston Collection. I'd like to welcome you and thank you for all of your hard work as you have collaborated with us to fulfill what is Kingston's master plan. There's no new vision here. This is the master plan that the writers of our master plan created 2 years ago that our charge is to implement, and that's what we're doing. I'd just like to give a brief opening statement about why we're here. Our master plan said that we will build a very strong economic base. Our master plan said that we will build our commercial taxes, our commercial tax base, to alleviate some of the pressure on residential taxpayers. In order to do that, it takes a team at the local, the state, and the federal level. At the local level, our committees, our boards have moved so rapidly, so quickly in support of this master plan. Our Board of Selectmen is among one of the most visionary groups I've ever had the pleasure of working with. Our boards of health, planning board, zoning board of appeals, and throughout the organization are signed up to our plan. At the state level, this administration, the Baker-Polito administration, has been so responsive, so understanding, so supportive of what we're doing here in Kingston. They recognize that Kingston is unique among 351 cities and towns in Massachusetts. They recognize that we're uniquely positioned given our geographic proximity, our support from town meeting, and the vision and the actions of the people who work in this town, that we can do something really special in the next 3 years and fully implement our master plan. Although I won't say much about it today, even the federal government is involved in Kingston's master plan. We fully expect to have another very exciting announcement in the near future as a result of our work with the Department of Commerce. So I would like to move forward in welcoming this group of leaders. But I want to start with Secretary Kennealy. Before I read Michael's bio, which I know he hates terribly getting this type of attention, I want to tell you when Michael became the Cabinet Secretary over a year ago, we had just received a $3 million grant from the Department of Housing and Economic Development, led by former Secretary Jay Ash. And through Senator DiMacedo, we asked Michael if he'd come and visit our town. And the reason we did that is where his organization had just made a major investment in our town, we felt it fair and appropriate that we should invite the new Cabinet Secretary down to see the fruit of our labor and to see what his organization, previous to him being Secretary, had invested in. So Michael not only did a drive-through or a walk-through, he spent an afternoon here going to every site in town that can be redeveloped or can be developed for the first time. He toured the treatment plant. He studied the water schematic and distribution system in the town. He came to understand what our master plan was all about and what our vision for the future can be. And he said the same thing that his predecessor said. Wow, what an opportunity among very few like this in the Commonwealth. And so we decided, well, why not? Let's apply for another grant. perhaps a bit bold on our part. And Michael, once again, called us and said, look, I need to understand the rest of the plan and how it's going better before I advocate for this. And he did. And with the help of Senator DiMacedo and Representative Lenatra, and with a lot of work from Michael and his team, he's here today to make an announcement that is magnificent. So with that, Mr. Secretary, please indulge me. I know you hate this part. I'd like to read to you a bit of Michael's bio. And before I do so, I want you to listen closely to this person's experience. These are the type of people that the Baker-Polito administration have recruited to run your Commonwealth. You know, people love to take shots at government, don't they? This is the level of talent that we have leading our state. So I'd like to share this with you. As Secretary of Housing and Economic Development, Mike Kennealy is responsible for advancing the Baker-Polito administration's agenda to create economic opportunity for residents, collaborative leadership in communities, an environment that supports job creation and business growth, and new housing for residents through targeted investments. In early 2015, Michael joined the administration as Assistant Secretary of Business Growth. As Assistant Secretary, Michael played an integral role in advancing the administration's strategy for job creation and business development across the entire Commonwealth, and provided leadership in key sectors, including serving as co-chair of the board of Massachusetts Life Science Center. Michael combines a successful track record in the private sector as well, with a strong commitment to the public good. He began his career in private equity as TA Associate, a Boston-based firm. In 1997, he joined Spectrum Equity, a private equity firm founded in 1994 with offices in Boston and in San Francisco. During his more than 15 years at Spectrum, Michael helped grow the firm to become an established market leader with nearly $5 billion in assets under management and investments in over 100 high-tech growth internet software and information service companies. After his career in the private equity, Michael spent 2 years as special advisor to the receiver of Lawrence Public Schools, where he worked with the state-appointed superintendent receiver on strategic and financial initiatives to support the school district's turnaround plan. Michael and his family live in Lexington, where they have been highly involved in town government, education, and youth sports. He previously served as chairman of the Board of Trustees at St. John's Prep in Danvers, and currently serves on the Board of Visitors for the Nelson A. Rockefeller Center for Public Policy and Social Science at Dartmouth College. Michael received an AB in Government from Dartmouth College and an MBA from Harvard Business School. That's the quality of professional you have leading this organization in the Baker-Polito administration. It's my great pleasure to introduce you to our Secretary of Housing and Economic Development, Michael Kennealy.
Tom, thank you for that really gracious introduction. I really appreciate it. It is great to be back in Kingston today. The Senator and Tom and I were just kind of reminiscing about that day back in March when I came down here. And we were in this office and we talked about the plan. And then we went out and saw all the sites, as Tom mentioned. And it really kind of came to life. And I will say, it's really one of the great joys in this position is coming out and getting into the communities and meeting the leadership and understanding your plans and your vision. And then even better, we get to fund it. We get to help you make it a reality, you know. And so this is an announcement I'm going to make about our MassWorks infrastructure fund. And before I do that, you know, people ask, well, what does MassWorks fund? And well, it funds, you know, sewer and water and lights and streets, and you know, it funds public infrastructure that then enables private development. But what it really funds is community and opportunity and collaboration. What it does is it lets the community say, here's our vision, here's where we want to go. And here's a project that's going to help us get there. And here's a vision among, you know, the private sector and the public sector and local government and state government coming together to make this happen. And we get to fund that. That's a heck of a lot of fun, I got to say. It's a really just great work and really enjoyable to make that happen. But that's what we fund. We fund opportunity and community and collaboration. We help communities move forward. And so today I'm pleased to announce a $3 million commitment through the MassWorks Fund. Let me make sure I get the details right here, to expand your wastewater treatment and water distribution system to enable the further development of Kingston. So congratulations to Tom. I want to talk a little bit about the project. You guys probably don't know this better than I do, but we're talking about up to 20 private developments and over 100 acres of housing, and a $44 million expansion of the Kingston collection, 280 units of multifamily housing, a new hotel, developments around the town's 40R smart growth district. This is really critically important stuff, and I'll tell you, it's great for Kingston. It's great for the Commonwealth. I mean, we're sitting here in the middle of a housing crisis in Massachusetts. And it's a kind of crisis you don't really see it every day, right? But it's there. We need a lot more housing. And guess what? We need a lot more housing near public transit. I mean, this is wonderful stuff. This is great for your community. This is great for our state. This helps advance a lot of important goals we have around our economy and our community development and our housing. Now, we're putting the finishing touches on our new economic development plan for the second term. And I love the title of this plan. It's called Partnerships for Growth. We're all about partnerships. We're all about working together. And there's 4 key pillars to the plan: responding to the housing crisis, and creating vibrant communities, strengthening our economic competitiveness, and expanding pathways for our workforce. And those are all great opportunities and great challenges for Massachusetts. And the fact that we have projects like this that can create more housing and more opportunity and a stronger local economy, and do it in a smart, transit-oriented way. It's wonderful to see, and it's great to be here. So congratulations to all of you. This is a great development. I'm thrilled to be here today. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Secretary, and I want to tell you I know I speak on behalf of my Board of Selectmen when I say it's been our honor and our privilege to work with you on the first portion of the plan. And we're looking forward to working with you on the second portion of the plan as well. Did you hear funding at all? I'd like to now introduce my dear friend, Senator DiMacedo. I had the pleasure of working with Vinny in the legislature for 12 years. He's an individual that requires no formal introduction. For those of you who don't know, Vinny will be giving his farewell speech in the Senate to the entire legislature on the 20th. I look forward to attending that with great pride. Everything that I have worked on in the past year and a half in the town of Kingston that impacted the state went through Senator DiMacedo and Rep. Lenatra. Vinny has used every one of those relationships that he has skillfully crafted over his entire career in the past 18 months to benefit this town. And so I'd like Vinny to come up and say a few words, but before doing so, I'd like each and all of you to join me in thanking Vinny for his service to this community.
Tom, thank you so much for those kind words. I must say, before I get into the grant announcements, it's just been an honor and a privilege to represent the community that I grew up in and has meant so much to me. I didn't think I would. I wasn't even thinking I'd get emotional because I'm leaving, but Kingston has just been a phenomenal community to the DiMacedo family, and I can't tell you how much we appreciate all that you have done for me, and giving me the opportunity to serve you over the last 5 years has been an amazing opportunity. But I am very excited about my new opportunity, and I will intersect with this community through Bridgewater State University as the Director of Regional Partnerships. It's a great fit for me, and I'm really excited about that. So thank you very much. And now on to why we're here, which is this announcement of this grant. And I cannot tell you how much I appreciate, as Tom was sharing, the Baker-Polito administration's commitment to making sure that communities that wanted to help themselves, that they were going to help. Communities that wanted to be creative and work hard and try to change the way things were going to be more effective for their constituents, they were going to make sure they partnered with. And they have committed to and have done that in so many different ways. I've seen it throughout my entire district. As you know, I don't just represent Kingston, but I represent Pembroke, Kingston, Plymouth, Bourne, Sandwich, and Falmouth. And in each and every one of those communities, they have been partnering with us. Oftentimes, these grants go. There's not a lot of MassWorks grants in its totality for the entire Commonwealth of Massachusetts. We have 7 million people in the Commonwealth of Massachusetts. This is a community of, what, 14,000 people? So to be able to garner a grant of $3 million was a big deal when it happened. For it to happen again the following year for another $3 million is just unheard of. But it happened because you had a leadership that knew that this project was bigger than the sum of the 14,000 people that were here. It was a project that could have huge implications to the entire region. So this is a regional grant. This isn't just affecting Kingston. This is affecting the entire Commonwealth, as the Secretary said. We happen to be right in the middle of, a north-south highway, east-west highway, a transit system in the MBTA. It's just, you don't have that often, that type of demographics, and then have willing partners in the business community that are willing to invest, as well as a community that's willing to invest as well to grow its economic base and its housing base, as you said. And this is something that I learned from the Baker-Polito administration, is that from 1960 to 1990, we built 900,000 new homes. From 1990 to now, we built 450,000 new homes. That's half of what we had done in the past. Because of that, the opportunities for young people, like my children, has become so much more challenging to find a home. So what the Baker administration is trying to do is to try to not only increase economic development, but to give opportunity for more housing, because more housing makes sure that our young people are going to have an opportunity to stay here, and there's going to be affordable housing for everybody. And it's not just affordable housing because it's subsidized, it's affordable housing because the market creates that. And so thank you for that commitment. I greatly appreciate it. I know that the Secretary and I have had long conversations about this, and I've watched them work, and the Baker, and as well as the Governor, Lieutenant Governor, and it's making a difference. So I'm incredibly grateful to this leadership team, to Josh and Elaine, and now you're a new member as well, and I'm sure you're learning a lot. It's a commitment that these the selectmen make and put into time, and frankly volunteer, to make sure their community's better. And you should be very proud of the leadership that you have, because they are fighting hard on your behalf, and this would not have happened if they had not spent the time and effort, along with the leadership of my former colleague, Tom Calter. So thank you so much, and congratulations to all of you.
Vinny, thank you so much. I would like to ask another dear friend and a woman who has become a personal mentor of mine, Elaine Fiore, to say a few words. Before I do so, I just want to say, as I've said many times before, on the record, nothing would have been possible in the past several years in terms of achieving this vision that is outlined in the master plan without Elaine's thumbprint all over it. And there are times that some in this community critique her or criticize her for being so involved in everything. Well, I'm here to tell you, without her involvement, without the impact she has had on everything we do, we wouldn't be here today. So without getting choked up like Vinny, it's my great pleasure to introduce you to you today, the person who is not only the Vice Chairman of the Board of Selectmen, but the Chairman, or Chairwoman, pardon me, Madam Chair Lady, of the Water Commissioners, which is embarking on, Sewer Commissioners, thank you, who is embarking on the biggest project of its kind in the state of Massachusetts right now. So it's my great honor to introduce you to Elaine Fiore.
Well, I don't know how to follow that up. I hope I don't disappoint. With the investment from the Office of Housing and Economic Development, under the leadership of Secretary Kennealy, others are now investing in Kingston. We have property owners, developers, and engineers working with us on projects that wouldn't have been possible a year ago. Kingston residents have voted zoning changes to complement the projects coming to town. Something as simple as allowing residential units above businesses will generate new housing opportunities, which help to support the businesses below. Because of the MassWorks grant, Kingston is now in a position to say yes. There are projects in place that will generate new jobs, housing for employees, and businesses to provide services to those employees. Kingston's story would not become a reality without this funding. On behalf of the Board of Selectmen, I'd like to thank Governor Baker and Lieutenant Governor Polito for creating the MassWorks program and continuing to fund it year after year. Without this funding and the support we have received from Secretary Kennealy and Senator DiMacedo, Kingston would not be able to attract housing or business opportunities to town. Thank you, Secretary Kennealy, Senator DiMacedo, for helping Kingston create a new future in moving forward in the Commonwealth. Thank you.
Well, I know the Secretary has another big announcement to make in another town, so we don't want to hold him up. I've been given 2 minutes for closing remarks, but I don't think I can say anything more than this esteemed panel has already said. All I want to say to the citizens of Kingston is that if you have a moment, send a note to Governor Baker, Lieutenant Governor Polito, and Secretary Kennealy, because none of this would have been possible without this state partnership. We're so proud to have this relationship with this administration, and we're so proud to have had the leadership of this legislative delegation. There's a lot going on in Kingston right now. 99% of it very positive. Kingston is on the move, and communities all around Kingston are watching everything we do. And I so look forward to standing here a year from now and inviting the Secretary down and touring the plant under construction, touring the housing under construction, and I so look forward to giving the taxpayers of Kingston, the residential taxpayers of Kingston, the kind of relief they so desperately need and deserve. So I thank all of you for joining us here today. I thank this group here at this panel, Mr. Chairman, for your leadership and for their involvement in this project. And I invite all of you to stay around, sharing some coffee and some refreshments. And thanks again for joining us.
Can I say one more thing, Tom?
Certainly, Michael.
I really want to acknowledge Senator DiMacedo and the fact that he's moving on from this role, and he's just really one of the great guys in this business, and we've had a great dialogue in my year as Secretary.
Thank you all very much. Please say hello to the Secretary and join us for refreshments.
I appreciate that. Absolutely. We're going to work together. I know. Thank you.
No giants in cardboard